All right, guys, so I've got a problem. So this car and all of this gear and all of this gear and equipment and all of this gear, usually a kayak and a paddle, and all of that gear, yeah, they're all part of the problem. Now this problem, it's not the worst problem to have. There's plenty of other problems you could have that are far worse. Now this problem does stem from a bigger, darker, more sinister problem. So by now you're probably wondering, what the heck's this guy talking about? I wish you would just come on out with it already. And so as it goes, that my problem, my small problem, is I'm super restless. I'm always on the go, I'm always wanting to do something. And that has created a monster that I don't know how to control. I have so many hobbies that I invest so much money into, and I don't have time to do them all. Like, every day goes by and I'm just like, man, I wish I could do this. Man, I wish I could do that. Man. And so today, for instance, I was gonna go out to my bushcraft shelter and I was gonna do some work on that, but it's raining and pretty crappy weather. And so I didn't want to get out there and get all up in the clay and stuff. And so I was sitting at the house and I was like, I want to get out, I want to do something, but what can I do? And then I remembered I spent all this money on photography gear last spring, last winter and into the spring, and I used them a little bit. I used them quite a bit when I went out to Montana, but aside from that, I've used them very little. So I thought, well, why not go on a hike somewhere you've never been and take some pictures of the river. So that's what we're out here doing today. This is the east branch of Long Swamp Creek. I've never been here before, and actually where I parked my car at, I wasn't really sure if I could come here because the property is owned by Emery's Marble Company in Marble Hill, and I wasn't really sure if I could come here, but I parked the car and I noticed beer cans and clothes and trash everywhere. So I thought, well, it can't be that big of a deal. And I see boot prints and dog prints and stuff where people come walking out here. And I've actually been pleasantly surprised with this little stretch of creek. Just up from here, I don't know, a couple hundred yards from here is a bridge for another road, and Emery's property line stops right in here. So I'm not going to go any further for the sake of getting on someone else's private property. In fact, you can actually see the outline of a house right up there. So I'm just going to stop here and enjoy the view of the creek from here. So there's not very many strainers in this section that I've seen. Actually, little to none. You've got this one branch right here hanging over the slide, but I don't really think it would be an issue. And another good thing that I'm looking at here too while scouting is there are plenty of places on both sides of the creek here. If you were to have issues, you could get, you know, if you came out of your boat or somebody you was kayaking with, there's plenty of places all the way basically from that bridge up there to the bridge down there where my car's parked, where if you came out of your boat or somebody you were paddling with came out of their boat, there would be you know, plenty of places to get out creekside. So the bigger, darker, more sinister side of my problem is that my hobby obsession and my restlessness stems from alcoholism. Now, I don't know how many people are watching these videos, and out of the people that are watching them, I don't know how many people know me personally. If you know me personally, you know that I've been stone cold sober for 5 years. So I am a recovering alcoholic, but I come from a past of 18 or 19 solid years of hard drinking and hard partying. It's not something that I'm ashamed of. It's part of my life. It's part of who I am. It's shaped me. It's shaped the person and the man that I've become today. But it is something that I'm glad that I'm leaving behind. And so my sobriety journey began 5 years ago when there was a Jeep accident in which I very nearly killed my brother Nathan. We'll just call him my brother-in-law, Hunter, and myself. I was the one driving. It was a rollover accident. It messed all three of us up pretty good. And it was a wake-up call, and I took it very seriously. I went stone cold sober. I didn't attend AA meetings. I did hire an addiction counselor, and I attended a counselor's counseling meetings. Either way, I went to see a counselor twice a week to talk about my addiction problem. And I did that over the course of like 6 or 8 months until I was comfortable knowing that I wasn't gonna go out and drink again. And let's not mistake that or confuse that with wanting to drink. I'm at a point now in my sobriety where I actually don't want to drink, but I don't think the desire ever really goes away, especially when you're hanging out or around people who are drinking or drink in front of you. It's not so much a problem for me anymore. I'm around people who drink all the time, and the thought very, very rarely crosses my mind. So I think I'm at a good point with that. I think I'm at a good point in my life with that. So check that out, guys, right there. Looks like there used to be an old roadbed up there. And it looks like maybe there's a culvert there or just a retaining wall to try to help the road from washing. And so I actually watched these videos from an older gentleman in New England a couple weeks back, and it was all about how to read the landscape and the woods. And one of the things he teaches you is how to spot old rock fences or rock walls. And I was coming down the creek from up there above that rapid, and I seen. Now, with me saying that I didn't attend AA classes or do a 12-step program doesn't mean that if you're struggling, you shouldn't do it. You got to do whatever is right for you. AA and 12 steps just didn't feel right for me. And so I found other ways, and I've been told, and I was told that my way would never work, and it has. And I'm not going to question it. I'm just going to keep doing what I do and keep riding the sober train. But I just wanted to take a few minutes to explain that story about myself, give you a little bit of background on why you see so many different things on my channel. And also to say, like, if you're struggling with addiction, whether it be alcoholism or whether it be, you know, addicted to drugs, anyways, you know, if you're struggling with alcoholism, drug addiction, pornography addiction, caffeine addiction, food addiction, any of those things, I am by no means a counselor, and all I can do is give you words of encouragement that would have helped me when I was first struggling with addiction, that I didn't get. I only got from a few people, and that's a really important thing, is you need to have a support structure, whether it's someone you know, you love dearly, or whether it's a stranger that you don't know at all. Any type of support is a huge motivator in what helps somebody climb that hill and get over the hump that is addiction. So I'm just here to say that if you are struggling with addiction, reach out, leave me a comment. I'll get with you personally through a personal message or an email or something along those lines, give you some words of encouragement, and maybe even help you get into a class or a counselor near you that can help you out. We're all in this fight together. We all got to be on the same page about sobriety. If you need the help, reach out. So that was a pretty short trip, maybe half a mile there and back to where I walked, if that. But this is the front here where the parking area was I was telling you about. That's Emery's marble mining and quarry over there. This is a pretty good spot. It looks like people probably come here. There's evidence of a fire. Looks like they hang out. So I'm down here by this bridge now. I'm always kind of nervous about coming into places like this because you never know what you're gonna find. A lot of homeless people like to hang out under here, and not all homeless people are nice folks, but like, you know, there's a chair and there's a blanket, and from back over there walking down the trail you see that kind of stuff and you're like, oh boy, what am I walking into? But this looks like maybe where some people fish quite a lot. I see a bunch of like old corn cans and stuff over there, and the water does look like it's pretty deep right up in there. But this is probably as far as I'm gonna go. Like I said, Emery's is just right over there, and this is the main road going over there. So I don't want to get on their property. They're running heavy equipment and stuff, and I imagine that the security probably wouldn't like me creeping around over there. So I'm just gonna do what I'm supposed to do, mind my own business on this side of the property. But this has been cleared out, so I do think people are coming down in here fishing. So I may come back in a couple days or maybe next week and try my luck up and down the creek here with a fishing rod. I don't think it gets stocked, so if there was any fish in here, it would all have to be native stuff. And then when you start talking about that, I mean, is there a chance that there really could be native trout in here? I'm not gonna say no, but it doesn't, like when you say it out loud, it doesn't sound right. So it kind of makes me think probably not. All right guys, so I've had this weird fascination with photographing churches, and not just any church, but like churches that are, you know, 50 years old or older and are kind of forgotten about by a lot of people. You know, a lot of these older churches only hold service on Sundays, like one Sunday a month or something like that. So I'm here at this church. This is Arbor Hill Baptist Church, and you can see on the sign here it says that it was constituted August 31st, 1940. And as you can see, just from looking at the outside of the church here, it looks like it was an older building at some point. I'm sure that it's been remodeled and redone over the years to make it look better, but even still, it's, you know, you can tell it's an older church. I have been to this location and taken pictures of this church before, but it's been a couple years ago. I'm kind of disappointed. I had an album with like probably 30 or 40 different churches from all over the state, including as far down as Florida, that I'd taken pictures of to document. And I kind of documented the graveyard as well, like the oldest person that I seen buried in the graveyard, how old the church was, if it was still in service or not. And I had some really good photos of some churches up on the other side of LJ in North Georgia that were log and were fallen down, that I had taken. So even though I have taken pictures of this place before, who knows what happened to the pictures. The whole album on Facebook disappeared randomly. Don't know why. Could never figure out a way to recover it. I know I could probably contact Facebook and all that, and they would probably recover it for me, but now that I actually have a decent camera, I can go around and start retaking pictures and make it better. Change back to my 35mm lens. This one don't give me a good enough field of view. Put this little 35 on. Should be able to open it up a little now. So I spent some time walking around looking at all the different graves, and I actually don't know if I've ever been here or not. I think it might have been one that I wanted to come to and never did, because I don't really remember the place. And walking around, I noticed that the church was constituted in 1940. There was quite a few graves that were marked born in 1920, but most of everybody was born, or most of everybody that I noticed was dead or dying starting in the 70s all the way up until 2020. And I didn't look at some of these more fresher ones up here, up at the top of the hill, but there was one grave that was very fresh, like probably within the last week or so. So that's unfortunate, but I didn't really see a whole lot of like old death dates. You know, some of these churches I've gone to, there's, you know, people buried in there from the 1700s, and I think the oldest one that I seen just walking around today was like 1973. There was one Korea War veteran in there. He with a death date of 1983. And some of these headstones are getting super elaborate, and it's really fascinating just to walk around and look at all the headstones. But like this guy right here, I mean, got an old 57 Chevy Bel Air on there. That guy back there has got like a beach scene on it. Like, I'm guessing they probably really love to go to the beach, and they really love the mountains. So like, you got the mountains on that side that was Poppy, and then you got the beach on this side that was Nana. That's a really cool headstone. It looks like they were married April 25th, 1973. But I was interested in these ones that's got, this is marble, straight out of the marble plant down here. 1980, 1989, 1986. So like I said, the one on the other side of the church is probably still the oldest I've seen so far. This is a pretty elaborate headstone as well. Looks like they was probably really big into the church. Here is Korea, June 1st, 1937, October 24th, 1994. So that's a veteran there. That's kind of a look at how some of my days go. I mean, just a little bit ago, I was down taking pictures of waterfalls, and now I'm up here at an old church wandering around. And that's days like today. It's a perfect day to do it. But anyways, guys, again, if you're struggling with addiction, reach out to people for help. It's you know, unfortunately it's a very, very common thing. A lot of people that you wouldn't even think struggle with addiction, and a lot of people are too embarrassed to reach out for help. A lot of people are too you know, they have a hard time admitting that they need help, and that, you know, they teach you in the 12-step program, that's step one, is admittance. And so if you're having trouble, you know, if you're right there teetering on the edge of thinking you have a problem but not thinking you have a problem, then you probably have a problem and you should reach out for help. So guys, don't be scared to reach out for help. Make sure, if you're struggling, to get help. But that'll be it for this one, guys, and I will catch you guys on the next one.